How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Q&A. Today we're joined with Mod Matt K.
Hello.
Mod Ronan.
Hello.
Mod Ash.
Hello.
Myself, Mod Archie. And Ian later over there on the computer showing off Resizable. A little sneak peek. So look forward to that, but halfway through the stream. Cool. So first question. This one's from I Can't Survive, who asks, can the whip recolors be changed to match the new mutagens? So this would have been one for Mod Ghost, who's not presently with us. He's still okay. He's just upstairs.
He's not dead.
It sounds bad when I say that.
He's gone to a better place.
He was for this idea, but I think it would really matter what the community thinks. Not sure how they liked the ones we offered in the Bounty Hunter shop.
Well, I'd be cagey about changing the existing ones from the Bounty Hunter shop to match these colours, but adding more colours to the Bounty Hunter shop would have been quite easy.
Okay.
Or making the whip recolour in different ways would have been easy, if we're okay with the game filling up with multicoloured whips.
True, fair enough. So perhaps something that could go with the Kraken, because the old ones don't go with the Kraken whips.
This is true.
Okay, It's a possibility. All right, next question. So why aren't these mutagens tradable, asks Doc. So for those of you that don't know, today we released new mutagens for the Zulrah Serpentine Helms. Visages, whatever you want to call them. Ronan, do you want to take us through what exactly that was?
You'll have to ask Ash, I suppose.
I don't know.
Okay, here we go. Hang on.
Let's talk about it. So, yeah, Zulrah drops the Serpentine Visage. You can craft it into a helm and wear it, and it's green. Now, quite a lot of people said they wanted it not to be green because it doesn't match the rest of their outfit. And, okay, we've given you a recoloured version. To get it, rather than just toggling the thing, we dropped items from Zulrah that you can use to recolour it, just for cosmetic purposes. Doesn't change the stats or make it any better. But you can get a light blue one to make it in the Tanzanite helm, or a kind of red one to make it the Magma helm. Works just like your Serpentine helm, but now it's blue or red. Hopefully it'll match your outfit a bit better. Now, we're trying to work out what to do with the tradability of these things.
Yeah.
We could have made them, tradable, then people try and sell them on the Grand Exchange for, well, huge amounts of money in the hope that they'll sell for huge amounts of money, which they might, but thing is, they don't actually give you very much benefit, or they don't give you any benefit.
Right.
So, if anything, it's more the glory of saying, look, I've spent a lot of money on this. And that didn't feel like it was going to keep its price very well. If anything, it felt like it was going to start off at whatever price we gave it and then slump very quickly and look like dead content.
Right.
So rather than making it a buyable thing that shows you've spent the money on it, we made it a unbuyable thing which shows you personally killed Zulrah. Because I don't think there's anything that shows you killed Zulrah at the moment apart from the snakeling pet.
Right.
Because all the other stuff Zulrah drops be tradable. So if you see somebody wearing the Tanzanite helm or the Magma helm, you know that they killed Zulrah themselves, even if they haven't felt like bringing their pet snake around to show everyone. So that's why they're untradeable. It's intended as a glory update to let you show off that you've done the killing yourself.
Right, more of an achievement.
I appreciate it's not what everyone wanted, but you see where we came from.
That's fair enough, I think. Next question, this one's from Aloha, who asks, so what are the drop rates for these mutagens?
Oh, we don't tell drop rates straight away. I can confirm it's rarer than the fangs.
Okay.
I mean, you're more likely to get onto the get one of the mutagens than you are to, I think, get one of the. No, you're more likely to get one of the fang type things than you are to get one of the mutagens.
Okay. So quick explanation. Actually, you know what? I'll read this question first, then we'll get the explanation. So again, this is the last one about these mutagens from Messenger, who asks, so why weren't they dropped from Elite Clue Scrolls? It doesn't make sense that they come from the boss himself or herself.
Doesn't it? Okay.
Well, that's the question. Right, so we'll get into the explanation of that because I didn't memorize this. Let's see here. Okay, so in genetics, a mutagen is a physical or chemical agent that changes the genetic material, usually DNA, of an organism and thus increases the frequency of mutations above the natural background level.
There you go. And next week you can join us for the history lesson by Mod Archie.
That was from Mod Ghost, who pretty much stated that to me, and I said, okay, I'm going to Google that and then write it down. So that's the reason why. There is some reasoning. It's not just a random name we made up. There's some kind of lore, I guess. Whatever.
Well, the idea is that since the helm looks like it's made of snakeskin in one form, and looks like it's made of crystal in another form, and looks like it's made of lava in another form, we wanted to give the sense that it was a little bit more than just a paint job. So
Yes.
it's a actual DNA level mutation of the helm.
So it makes sense.
Yes, very
Awesome.
sciencey.
In our fantasy world, it makes sense.
All right. Okay, I said that was the last one. This is the last one. So what happens to the mutagens once they're used on the helmet? That's the last question.
If you use it on the helmet, the mutagen is consumed and the helmet changes colour. If you subsequently try to restore the helm to its original colour, you can, but mutagen don't come back.
So it's a one-time use. Once you use it, it's gone, and it makes the helmet obviously untradeable. That's that.
And if you didn't want to recolour your helmet, just alk it.
Okay, or just keep in your bank, I guess. All right.
Indeed.
Cool. Next question. A different update today. This one's from Sweet, who asks, "Can you further explain this Big Mo's Maid thing?"
Yeah, so Big Mo, NPC that will be in Verac Centre tomorrow, which is going to be at 1 a.m. GMT. Was it? No, 12.
It's
GMT.
midnight GMT.
Midnight
so that's 1
GMT.
a.m. British summertime
There we go.
tonight.
Yes.
Which is in about 6-7 hours.
Yes.
Yes, 7 hours.
He'll be in Verac Centre for all of May 1st, and then he's going to move randomly. We'll be giving a hint at his location.
Really? Are we doing that?
Just
keep it completely random.
To start with, he'll move each day, and there will be a period of time in which you can find him, but we haven't given any sort of hint yet.
Okay.
After a couple of hours, hint will go out on Twitter, on Old School RS on Twitter, so you can get a bit of a hint, then try and track him down. And if you find Big Mo, you'll be able to get 1 clue scroll a day from him. You've got a random chance of the tier of the clue scroll, so you're not guaranteed whether you'll get an easy, a medium, a hard, or an elite. And the more you do it throughout the month, the more likely you are to get your clue scroll of choice. You'll say, "Oh, I'd like a hard clue scroll," and he'll say, "Oh, I don't have one. Here, take this one instead." And as you go on, you'll have a higher chance of getting the one that you chose. It'll be once a day that you'll be able to get a clue throughout May. So tomorrow until May 31st. And then Big Mo will be on his way and won't be anywhere else. Yeah.
It's worth knowing that the chance of getting exactly what you ask for right at the beginning of the month ain't going to be very high.
Right.
If you've not been to Mo before and bought anything from him, then you've got a pretty low chance of getting exactly what you ask for. So it doesn't mean that the game's going to fill up with elites straight away just because everyone asked for one. Most of them are not going to get what they want. But if you keep going to Mo and buying more clue scrolls, then gradually you'll get a slightly better chance of getting what you wanted.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth mentioning as well that we didn't poll this. It is a community event that we do. We don't poll those because we like to surprise you every now and then with something a bit different. You put a nice post on Reddit, which was throughout the year what we see players coming in and out of the game depending on what time of year it is. And May is particularly a sparse month for us, so we wanted to do something to sort of get a bit more excitement going, get a bit more focus on the game before we start putting out the big updates over summer. So that's the reason it's there. It'll be a bit of fun. I mean, if you think about the overall chances of how much stuff's going to go into game because of it, we sat down and worked out earlier that if every single player who logs in takes part in this and buys a clue scroll, over the month we would end up with about 40 new third age items in game, and that's assuming that every player who gets an elite or a hard are able to do them. So next to nothing's going to happen because of it. Good bit of fun, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it.
That's every single player.
That's every single player who usually logs in over a month. Yeah.
Right.
And that assumes that they didn't get PK'd and lose it while doing it.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's not going to be easy to find, and there's a cap at 1 a day, so wouldn't be too worried.
I looked
But
at all the
think it's
data and it was fine.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fun kind of daily task to watch people try to hunt him down, see where he's hiding.
Yeah.
Cool. Next question. This one's from Darkfard, who asks, would it be possible to add a Gilnor Marathon Gilnor Marathon run to feature the agility skill? Players need to complete a lap around the agility course and then run to the next one. Until they've completed a number of them, there are several rules like no teleports, but shortcuts and boat travel are allowed. This is a very popular idea on Reddit. Mod Ronan discussed it yesterday on his stream.
Yeah, but unfortunately I used the outdated version of the post. I used the first one that he posted instead of the updated one that he posted afterwards.
Right. Do you have a brief explanation of what this event is?
Essentially, you'd start at the gnome agility course, and you would have to make your way around the map going to each different agility course and completing it without using any sort of teleport or fast transportation. And if you did the entire lap, which I think the guy who posted it estimated to be about 40 minutes for the easy route and an hour and 15 minutes for the hard route, you get a nice little experience, a chunk of experience at the end of it. And yeah, it's just a bit of a different way to train agility. And there was some
The capes.
smaller, yeah, the capes. I
Kind of a cosmetic reward possibility.
yeah, there was a bronze, silver, gold, and a record holder cape.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which I think is a pretty cool
Yeah,
idea.
I like the record holder cape.
It's just a kind of cool idea to actually utilize all of the shortcuts in game and all the paths that you probably would have never known about.
Yeah, I just saw the comment that just said restart Modash. Oh dear.
plenty
Interestingly
already,
enough,
so-
years ago I used to look after the Max Player forum when we had, I think we started off with about 300 Max Players when we first created that. And one of the events that I did for them, because we did sort of regular weekly events with them, one of the events was a very similar thing where you had to start on one side of the map and run all the way to the other side. And I took them all the way through horrible place with all the buildings and shortcuts.
Maya Ditch.
That's it, Maya Ditch, yeah.
Oh,
So I took them
that's
through there
horrible.
to the end. And it was all going fine until they got to there, and then they all got lost and they sort of turned up
Right.
every now and then. But that was good fun. They enjoyed that. So
As long as we
Yeah.
can disable teleports and stuff like that, I think it'd
Yeah.
be a kind of cool idea.
We can do that.
yeah, but no, it was good fun. The players really enjoyed that. We had about 200-300 max players running through the world on one world, which was quite wonderful to see.
Yeah.
I can imagine the first day of something like that coming out. Hundreds of people running along the same path across the game. It'd be
Especially if we
interesting.
do a specific world for it as well.
Yeah.
That would be quite wonderful to see.
Cool. All right, next question. This one's from Miniman, who asks, with free-to-play now being opened, can you consider removing some of the added goblins in Lumbridge? So we added some NPCs with free-to-play. Do you think they're going to stay?
Well, if they're not needed, I'll be very happy to make them go away again.
His complaint is that it lowers his frames per second, but it's the first I've heard of that.
Well, I can believe it. Lots of NPCs will do that, although there's not that many of them. But yeah, happy to move them. They can take them away.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to have a look at how much they're being used first and stuff.
We
I think.
often do end up putting things in to cope with all the extra traffic you get on launch day that turn out not to be needed after a couple of months of people moving to other bits of the game to train. So if they're not needed in Lumbridge anymore, I'm happy to see them gone.
Maybe we don't remove them, just move them.
Yeah.
Move them to the
So it
wilderness.
was, yeah.
Well, there's no shortage of goblins in this game. We keep getting called a goblin basher.
All right. Next question.
There's an article about it.
Okay. This one's from Alphinite God, who asks, will we ever see a Bolas in-game, or at least something that works similar to it?
A bowl ass.
Bolas.
Oh, Bolas, right.
Bolus?
Bonus,
I know what you mean.
yeah.
Bolus. It's AS, not US. Bolas. All right. Anyways.
Double S or just one.
Could perhaps work as a feature with the discussed soul call that
I
wasn't
think
really
Roland's
working
the
out.
expert on anything to do with bowls, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got Bolas.
What are your thoughts on the Bolas?
My thoughts, I wasn't a big fan. They were
Yeah.
kind of a buzzkill weapon. You'd be running along, you'd suddenly get hit by one and just be like, okay, do
Yeah.
nothing for a few seconds now.
It's
I
kind
don't
of
know.
a mage-only thing to be able to freeze somebody, unless you're talking CGS, I guess. But to
Typic-
give it to range,
Typically, if you suggest Bolas, people don't like the idea, in old school at least. So,
well, we just
I
see a
don't know.
bunch of lols right now, so we can't really tell what they think. But
I think we can tell what they're thinking about.
Yes. There we go.
all right, you know what? Before I do these, you're going to tell me how to pronounce certain RuneScape words.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
We can do that.
All right, moving on. This one's from Bandy, who asks, have there been any setbacks to push Resizable back past the scheduled release date, or is everything going smoothly? This would be a question for Ian, who's currently getting set up with Resizable, to show you guys in a bit. But
Certainly from the work I've been doing on it, it's getting off to a good start. I'd have liked to be able to get started on my side a few days earlier, of course, but we've had quite a few other things to do as well. Had a fair few bugs being fixed in the last couple of updates as well, you've seen from the patch notes. So that is taking time away from Resizable, but I think we're still good, and I think we're still on course. Ian might know differently, but I think he's actually coming towards the end of his side of it anyway. Can't tell, he'll tell us more when he's on screen himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Currently, I think he's getting sound checked.
Next question. This one's from, you know what, I'm just going to turn this off because my phone's ringing.
Wow, so professional. Chris.
It's really loud. All right. This one's from McNeasy, who asks, might we get to see a new spellbook with Zaya, perhaps, with spells like special attack, restore spell? This has been tossed around a little bit lately, the idea to bring back special attack. Now, hold on, real quick, before the chat flips out. You can go to the Duel Arena and refresh your special attack relatively quickly. Mm-hmm. It takes, 30 seconds or so, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a bit longer.
But you can't do it mid-fight. Whereas if you're in a fight and you can keep, recharging your special attack or recharging someone else's special attack, that's going to be pretty useful.
So if we could limit it to not being in PvP and PvM zones, that sounds tricky.
We could try and limit it to not having been in combat lately, but lately would want to be a lot more than the usual 10 seconds.
It also does take 2 people, that's right, to recharge your special attack in the Duel Arena, so it's a bit more convenient if you could do that yourself.
You can do it now with, energy transfer on Lunar Spell, but it does require someone else to be there. I think you can still do it in PvP areas on PvP worlds.
Yeah.
But that's not the nicest thing.
That's true.
Well, the technology exists. We could do it if people wanted it. I'm not rushing to that one.
Okay.
But as for the idea of a new spellbook from Zaya, is there anything you'd like to tell us?
Yeah, no, it's in the list of stuff to look at. I mean, at the moment, what I'm doing is going through some of the Zaya stuff and getting a bit more detail down, so we can start getting into a bit more, start making it really effectively. So once we've got all those plans together, one of the mentions was a new spellbook, so we're looking at that. Haven't looked at it yet, but we'll do soon, and we'll move forward with that somehow or other.
Because we've got
Don't know what it'll be yet.
magic theme family out there, the Arceus.
Yes, I don't know how you pronounce them. I might change the name of some of them so we can pronounce them.
Or you could make up how to pronounce them.
That sounds
Yes, yeah. We'll let.
We've actually got a bit of a follow-up question to that as well, asking if there's been any progress on the idea of adding a spellbook altar to the player-owned houses. I think John was discussing wanting to do something similar.
I think he was discussing it on the feedback forum.
Yep.
So you guys might know more about it than we do.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a nice...
Well, I think it could be done, and I think he was designing a sort of hall of achievements or something.
Yes, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. But I think certainly something which would be a pinnacle of usefulness in player-owned housing, and I think
it's all about altars.
Yeah, absolutely. And get that near the top of it, and it gives a good incentive to get high up construction.
Yeah.
It was suggested there could be a cash fee associated with using the thing in the house, maybe some of which could go to the host if you were visiting someone else's house.
money
That
box
would be
couldn't you?
nice.
Yeah,
Start a business like that. Well, general feedback from the chat is very positive when we mentioned that.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to see if we can do something like that. Yeah, we've got some more time left before we show off Resizable.
Yes.
We've got a lot of time left for the job there.
Yes.
Next question, this one's from Violent, who asks, will we ever see an expansion to the wilderness? He's asking, perhaps opening up a new area with monsters, something like the pirate ship. You know that area way deep in the wilderness.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Kind of unexpectedly landed a pirate ship there. I don't know how it got there, but...
Ain't going anywhere else.
Yeah.
Pirates get everywhere.
Right.
They get
How did
them
the
today.
ship get there? There's no... Okay, you know what? All right, RuneScape.
Could do. I mean, I think at the moment PvP is pretty good. Well, is in an all right place where it is now. So I wouldn't want to sort of make it a bigger area so there's more places for people to go. Just to make it bigger, I think we'd need a definite reason to do it, and I don't think we've got one at the moment. I think as things stand, I think it's quite healthy.
I'd agree.
In terms of spreading people out across more wilderness, it's just not something we're in a hurry to do, because if anything, you want more people meeting each other in the wilderness.
Okay. And as far as a pirate expansion goes, probably not anytime soon. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Okay. Next question. This one's from Carbon, who asks, can we see more extremely rare items added to the drop table that don't yet have an explained purpose? I think he's referring to the jars of sand and whatnot. Very rare items that are...
You just want items that do nothing and have no purpose.
But maybe they become the best items in the game down the road. Maybe. Like a golden cabbage or something like that.
Or mosquito proboscis.
Yes. What?
It's a useless item you can get from the mosquitoes.
Okay.
It had a use when summoning came out.
I think it adds some fun to the drop tables having some troll items like that.
I
to be
agree.
honest.
I like the idea of the jars of whatever. I
Yeah.
think, however pointless they may be, I think it's nice to have them there as a bit of a troll as well. I don't know. I like that idea, to be honest.
Yeah, makes PVMing a bit more fun, a little bit more frustrating, but also more fun.
Absolutely.
Plus, if it leaves those open-ended things there that we can explore in the future, it's always nice.
That's true.
Yes,
Very true.
I do like that.
Cool. Next question. Tropiels asks, so Armadillo, Bandos, and Zammy all have certain Slayer tasks. Why doesn't Sarah get one?
Well, Kriara is an Aviancy, so he's in that category. And Bandos is kind of ogreish, goblin-esque, so he's in that category. And Kriol and his mates be demons, so they're in the greater and lesser and black demon categories. Zilyana, however, she's an Icene. They don't have a category because she's the only one there is. And Slayer task of Icenes, or big flappy people, is going to be a rather limited Slayer task. Now, what we talked about sometime previously was adding bosses as a Slayer category, so that, you know, instead of being assigned to kill Dagonoth or goblins or whatever, you'd be assigned to kill bosses if you'd unlocked it. And we could put that category on all the usual bosses, perhaps defined by anything that's got a boss ped.
Okay.
And that way you'd be able to go slay a whole load of lows, probably get quite a lot of XP for doing so, because it's Slayer XP is calculated off the hit points, etc. So that's something I'd like to offer in a future poll, see if people like it.
Me and John had a meeting to plan out the Slayer expansion that's going to be coming in summer, and we did talk about that. The idea was to just have a task of boss. So
Yes.
if you get assigned that from one of the Slayer Masters, you can go and kill any boss.
Yep.
And there's going to be a bunch more in that Slayer update too, which I'm really excited about. Devlog probably in a couple of weeks, I think is what is planned.
Sounding good, because we don't have a huge amount of time for developing it due to resizable mode.
Okay. Cool. Good question. Let's see. Dingwill asks, can Hellhound's drop table get a revision? This has always been mentioned many times before.
Yeah.
Perhaps something like a one noted Addy bar kill. For some reason, we've been seeing a lot of requests for the noted Addy bar as missing the Aviancies, not the ones in the wilderness, of course, but something similar to that feature. But just one per kill doesn't sound too terrible.
Well, the thing about it being banknoted is that it stacks. So
Right.
if you can kill lots of them, then you can farm them. That was why they were taken out of the original God Wars launch, because people were afraid that it would just fill up with bots farming it, and they didn't want the God Wars dungeon for that reason. Whether they'd have actually voted no or not is a matter of speculation, but we offered that change to make it more likely to pass, and hey, it passed.
Okay.
I was rather more attracted to the idea of making them be banknoted if you're on a Slayer task.
That's an interesting idea. Hadn't considered that. See how the
It's
chat thinks
just
that.
something that came in from a player.
Okay.
Also, tying it to a diaries is another idea that gets sent in a lot, but doing it based on being on a Slayer task is always tempting for bonuses.
That's a very interesting idea,
As
actually.
for Hellhounds, that was another thing that me and John discussed. So yeah, devlog in a couple of weeks. More info then.
Cool. Looking forward to that. All right.
It'd be nice to give them a drop table.
Next question. Mundi Oaks asks, can the Ring of the Gods get an imbue so it can become more useful? Now, we did pull something giving it the ability to neglect any god monsters in God Wars dungeon from attacking you, correct?
It
Which
would count
failed.
as kit for all 4 bosses
Right.
at once.
Is there anything else we can really do to that ring to make it a bit more useful?
Got any suggestions?
I think we're open to ideas for this one.
It could make your prayer actually restore over time, slowly,
That's nice.
so that if you turn off your prayers for a long period of time, then the prayer actually ticks up a bit again.
That sounds really nice.
Yeah, that
Might
does.
be a bit excessive, might be a bit useless, I don't know.
Okay. That's a really interesting idea.
It is.
Some good ideas coming from Modash today. All right. We'll do a couple more questions here before we move into Ian with a preview of Resizable mode. So, Holbrion asks, will we ever see anything that is Ironman only? Meaning polls,
Probably not.
certain game updates, mini games, anything.
And the problem with Iron Man only stuff. Well done. is that the problem with Ironman only stuff is that it opens a certain specific thing only to Ironmen. And the whole point of Ironman is that it's a normal game but more difficult. And if it's making things easier, then does that go against the whole idea of what Ironmen are all about?
Right.
We can give them a special arena where they can go and get half the rate of XP on anything they do.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I doubt we'll see anything. So if we do anything unique for them, other players are going to want to try it. So it would be unfair on everybody who's not an Iron Man. And if we give them anything which makes specifically for them that makes things easier for them, then that goes against what an Iron Man is.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I think we probably won't see anything specifically for them.
Especially this late into however long Ironman's been out now. We have so many people with so many different achievements, which certainly wouldn't be as recognizable if we went and put something in the game to make it easier to get.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right, next question. Yeezy asks, can you consider changing the second screen at the Duel Arena to help prevent people from getting scammed?
Yeah, now, I did a lot of changes to the Duel Arena in 2012 while I was working on other RuneScape. And we would like to try and get a lot of those changes made to our code base as well. It's not a small job, and we find ourselves somewhat short-staffed, so basically we're looking around the RS3 team to see if we can maybe borrow one and get them on that job.
And yeah, things are certainly proceeding well in that regard, so
Excellent.
hopefully we will have some movement on that in the not too distant future.
Okay.
In fact, I'm just waiting for an email about it now, so
All right.
my phone's been buzzing, so I'm wondering if I've already got it.
Last question before we move into the preview with Ian. So this one's from Elfinite, who asks, could you add a Zulrah hard mode where every phase is random and you don't know what's coming next? I like the idea of making bosses more difficult, but this would only obviously bring more valuable rewards, I would imagine.
I assume they'd want that, and that is not necessarily something we need from Zulrah right now.
Of course.
Indeed, yeah.
We could make Zulrah harder without giving them more rewards, but I don't think that's what they're going to vote for.
As far as making a hard mode for bosses in general, do you think that's something we'll ever do?
I could totally see it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's something we'll end up doing, yeah.
A couple cool ideas can come through with that, but obviously something like a hard mode Zulrah that would offer even better rewards, maybe not right now.
Yeah.
Cool. So I guess we're going to move over to Ian with the preview Resizable mode now.
Yeah, Ian.
Okay, so this is the client we're all used to, fixed size, serviceable enough, but when you're running it on a 1080p screen or larger, it really starts to feel quite small. With resizable mode, of course, it gets bigger. You can make it up to the full size of your window. Some people have expressed concern that potentially there may be some advantage to having a sort of wide viewport which allows you to see further to the sides of your players. It should be noted that the server limits what it will transmit in terms of other players nearby, so you won't be able to see players who are further away, but you will be able to see more of the surrounding scenery. We can potentially look at options in terms of limiting the aspect ratio of the screen if people consider that having too wide a screen is too much of an advantage. Further controls we're looking at putting in, again subject to discussion and subject to poll. We can control the zoom. You can zoom out, see more of the surrounding area. Again, the draw distance is limited. That's not likely to expand, so if you do zoom out, you'll have to cope with the fact that there's a sort of black edge to the world which you can't see beyond. Similarly to zoom, you've got field of view, which is slightly different. Gives a sort of more warped effect if you put the field of view too wide. I have been tweeting some screenshots about this within the last week. Seem to have gone down fairly well. One thing which several people have asked was whether those screenshots had anti-aliasing or not. Now, sadly, they didn't have anti-aliasing. It was just my phone's camera was rather blurry. But following those people's comments, I had a quick play around on Tuesday, and I've implemented what is, in technical terms, you could refer to it as full screen anti-aliasing or super sampling. And if I don't know if you'll be able to see this on your streams, but if I activate this, everything becomes a lot smoother, and it also clobbers the frame rate. I might look into trying to do some more intelligent anti-aliasing, multi-sample anti-aliasing, for example, which might allow it to run without such a penalty to performance. However, if you're running in a small game window, then certainly on our computers here, I'm still able to get a fairly reasonable frame rate even with the anti-aliasing switched on. So just for comparison, that is with anti-aliasing switched on, and that is with it switched off. You'll notice sort of jaggy lines along the edges of the walls here, which smooth up nicely. Other than that, both me and Ash have been working on getting the interfaces all ported across to the larger version of the window. It uses a different layout. Again, we'll be able to look at offering you options in terms of maybe making the chat window wider, or maybe making it semi-transparent so you can see what's underneath. Is there anywhere you guys would like to see in full screen mode?
It's 15 seconds delay.
Fair enough.
They'll want it, I think we're sure of that.
Someone said God Wars.
God Wars.
That would be
Can you give me a
interesting.
coordinate for that?
2,44,82. But I think you're a non-member.
Pardon?
Aren't you a non-member?
Don't think so. We'll
Okay.
find out in a second. No, it didn't let me do that, so probably.
Anywhere in the free world.
Should have had a members account on it.
Where's exciting to see in free to play?
Yeah.
The
No
cow
exciting
fields.
to be played. Pardon?
Elvark would be good.
Elvark.
Oh dear.
For Elvog, try 45,150.
No. 45,150.
Yeah, something like that. Or 44,150. Yeah, that's Elvog. Wow. Sorry, I always forget where the volcano is.
Oh.
Oh, that looks awesome.
Wow.
I think I'm about to get pwned. Don't know what I've got my stats set at the moment.
Oh my god.
Look at that.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's incredible.
Okay, now kill it like that.
Even that's a right click op. I don't think. No, I think I have to be on the quest to do that. We go back to the questions?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so. Amazing.
That's very exciting. I've already seen that. That's still very exciting.
It is. Does look good. But I think, especially with all sort of the extra features that Ian talked about, we can sort of talk to you about them a bit further as well, whether what you want in there and whatnot. The anti-aliasing in particular, I think, as Ian said, it clobbers your frame rate, so certainly won't be something that you will have to have on. But
Unless you
yeah,
have a super PC.
yeah, super PC at the moment.
Yeah.
But,
I gather that is one.
yes. So that'd be quite amazing. Really look
Nice round
forward
of
to
applause
that.
in the chat there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So be sure to follow at @jagex_Ian, I believe is his
Yeah,
Twitter, for
sure.
more previews until release date. Aside from that, let's get back to the questions. Cool. So Dingwill asks, the Crystal Halley update said we will be able to recharge crystal seeds into the halberds with Ilfine, is the NPC's name, but this character doesn't do that.
Yeah, looking at it, seems that she was updated to say, I can't do halberds, go talk to Isolwyn. So clearly there's a feature missing there. We'll try and find some time to do it, because if we promised it, we're going to try and do it.
Right.
But sorry, been a little busy lately, and I guess it didn't get into the original launch because of all the other things that we're trying to get into the diary's launch in the first place.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think they've forgiven you. All right, next question. XX Cross asks, with the ability to change our Verac teleports to the Grand Exchange, could the Ring of Wealth teleport us to the Grand Tree? For quicker...
Access to all those teleport hubs, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
So this would be unlocked from the Verac diary if you've toggled, since you can now be toggling your Verac teleport, you'd also want to be able to teleport your Ring of Wealth.
I suppose so.
Interesting.
I think people are looking for a use for the Ring of Wealth in general, so maybe it's not something that they'd expect to come from a diary.
Wait a cotton becking minute. The Ring of Wealth takes you to the Grand there's things take you to the Grand Exchange, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a spirit tree there.
That's a very good point, yeah.
I think we're done here.
That's well, I suppose one less click, isn't it? That spirit tree only drops you into Grand Tree, doesn't it?
You can teleport from the Grand Exchange to the Stronghold one, and I think you can go from Stronghold to anywhere you like.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's how I think it works, yeah.
Okay.
Also, I think we updated all the spirit trees to let you go wherever you like without having to go back to the hub. That was something that we worked on several months ago, I think.
All right, next question. Armageddon asks, with an 80 plus construction requirement and 85 plus farming requirements, could we have the ability to place a fairy ring and spirit tree in our houses?
I looked into the code for that. I think we could do the fairy ring and possibly the spirit tree, although we wouldn't let you teleport to other people's houses via them.
Right. Okay, that would be, yeah.
A little bit hard to handle.
Do you think that'd be a little OP as far as transportation goes?
I don't know. You've got a teleport tablet for getting to your POH, so having to be in one of these specific teleport places to get there doesn't seem outrageous to me.
Are they suggesting...
Sorry,
go ahead.
Yeah.
They're very polite.
Are they suggesting that you'd be able to go both ways, or just out of your player-owned house through those things?
I would imagine just out.
That's what I would expect as well.
Yeah.
I like the idea of having a teleport room that's outside part of your garden as well, so that would tie in quite nicely to that.
Okay.
So obviously all the teleport rooms are inside. You have one in your garden. It's another garden sort of thing.
I think this might make for a good first straw poll.
I think so.
Cool. So we're going to ask, can we have the ability to have a fairy ring and a spirit tree teleport in our house?
And while that's being set up, it's worth noting that the trouble with houses at the moment is that they can only handle a certain amount of variety because of the way data space was allocated for keeping the room info. Gotta love your data space. So,
Nothing wrong with
adding-
data.
Oh, there can be. So the more we try and put in the existing rooms, the more full they get. And I think pretty much every space is already full in every possible room for houses as they currently are. So what we might end up doing is adding a new kind of room where we can put more varieties of furniture. So rather than looking at, say, replacing your prayer altar with an upgraded one that does spellbooks, which we discussed earlier, maybe we'd look at a different room entirely, like John's been describing on the forums, to put new kinds of stuff in that you can't do in the rooms as they currently are.
Okay.
And so this might end up being in a kind of teleportation garden or a magic garden or an enchanted garden rather than the formal one or the crude one.
So would this tie into his suggested 85 plus farming requirement? Because that seems a little steep.
It's comparable to what it takes to do spirit trees in farming.
Okay.
So I would expect that kind of farming requirement on anything involving spirit trees.
So this will only be a feature for some of the top tiered players with both 80 plus construction, 85 farming.
Where's your fairy ring, on the other hand? If you can grow bitter cat mushrooms, that's in the upper 50s, I think.
Okay. All right. Should have that poll in your chat in a second here. We'll see the results right after our next question. So Abby asks, does changing our Verac teleport to the Grand Exchange also change our Verac teleports in our player-owned houses?
Yes. It's worth noting it works off the setting of the person going through the portal, not of the host. In other RuneScape, I think it was written to check what the host setting was. So if your host wants their portal to go to the Grand Exchange, that's where you'd go to. We haven't done that here, it just checks what you personally have chosen. So everyone going through a portal in a house might actually end up in different places.
Okay. We have the results back from that straw poll. Would you like the ability to build a fairy ring and spirit tree teleport in your house? And that's passing by 82%, is that?
80.
80?
That's fairly
Considerably.
strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't. It's quite interesting.
Interesting feature, though. I think that's probably just people who don't have 85 plus farming.
Fairly.
But better get farming. That's an interesting idea.
High level
Make its way to a
community are
poll.
indeed.
All right, moving on. This one's from I Hate Spec, who asks, have you discussed anything more about the possibility of buffing the ZGS? We recently buffed the BGS, and of course we knew they were going to ask, well, now you got to buff the ZGS, so any cool ideas for this?
We've had a bunch of ideas coming in. I think I was checking Reddit while Ian was doing the Resizable thing as well, and there's already another one by the time I'd come downstairs and started this stream.
Yeah.
There's a load of them. There are some very strong suggestions. There's one at the top of Reddit right now, which is add more damage, which...
Okay, so just make it
less.
better.
But there are a ton of suggestions there. We could definitely run some of them past the community, and if there's something that is reasonable that we could do, poll it.
Okay, I like the idea. I think there was one of being able to add to a freeze time. So say you barrage somebody that lasts, what, 15 seconds?
Yeah.
And then you use your ZGS spec that could add the freeze time up. Both of those hits together. That person's going to be sitting there for 30 seconds.
Yeah, I went over that one on the stream last night.
Did you? Okay.
And I think it got about 60% no. I'm not sure. But that does sound really, really strong. So
Can you get a whole
suppose
clan to ZGS one person and have them stuck there for the rest of
they
the day?
did
stack
they did
up,
specify that it wouldn't stack in any way. Like once you'd had the one ZGS spec take effect,
Okay.
it wouldn't happen again.
Okay. I mean, it could be just a simple thing of reducing the splash rate so it doesn't splash. Whenever I use that thing in Castle Wars, it just always splash. So
Never had mine
that's what I would
splash,
do.
not once.
All right.
So I think my idea is better.
What's that?
The one we spoke about earlier. It transforms you into a demon.
Oh, okay.
You attack things as a demon.
Right.
That's a special attack.
It's a very
Right,
special
so you
attack.
summon a demon. We also introduced summoning with this, by the way.
Yeah.
Can you-
Yeah.
All right, next question. Sanwalis asks, can we have a boss that requires several different skills to defeat? I think since Zulrah, people have become very fond of needing more than one attack style and just, not just sitting there and attacking. You have to work for it. You have to move around for your kill. Do you think this will be a
So
feature?
they like my idea. See the chat? Like, yes, Matt. There we go. Job done.
What are your thoughts on a boss that requires multiple skills to kill, not just combat skills?
I think
we
we're
love
planning that for.
We've been
Zaya,
talking
aren't we?
about it ever since the White Dragon was first talked about, and I'm very sure that Zaya's going to end up with one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or
Lovely.
some.
Okay, cool. Next question. Firevenge asks, can you add blood and soul runes as a higher level rune crafting content?
Yes. On Zaya.
Everything's coming with
Yeah.
it.
But I mean, it sounds sort of a bit. I don't know, almost like
Like a scapegoat.
yeah, like a scapegoat that we're going to stick it on Zaya. But
Yeah.
for the big content like this, for the really big stuff that you want, there needs to be a reason for it to be there, and Zaya gives us that reason effectively because it's new things you haven't found. You know, if we'd stick it on the current world map, there would be need to be a reason why it wasn't there before. And Zaya solves that completely.
Okay.
So there will be stuff. I still like the idea of the idea we spoke about plenty of times, having the river of blood and the river of souls, and going fishing in one, and getting your shoes out of it and all sorts. But them sort of somehow working into the altar for blood runes and soul runes.
Okay.
I think it'd be amazing.
I'm very sure the Mod Ghost will have some fun designing a blood temple and a soul temple.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd like that. All right. Chat seems
To be talking about Dark Souls and Boti, River of Ginger, apparently.
Soul Wars. Oh boy. All right. Next question. Brad asks, when might we see some new rewards added to the Prospector Percy shop? Saying we need something more to spend our nuggets on.
What would you like?
He's got one idea.
Excellent.
All right.
Declus.
Well, this is a separate idea from somebody else that was on the topic. Asking for the ability to collect gold coins dropped by monsters nearby. So kind of like a metal detector grabber thing that grabs gold pieces that aren't quite on you, but within your reach.
From a code point of view, we would find it difficult to keep searching the terrain around you all the time, see if there happen to be any coins on it. That's going to add a lot of server load.
Okay.
We did, however, talk about adding something that would let any coin drop from a monster go automatically to your inventory rather than having to pick it up.
Almost like a coin pouch.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Or like a bone crusher, but for money.
Right.
So it wouldn't hold the money, it would just cause, if you'd got, it's going to be a ring of wealth to be honest, but if you got that equipped, then any coin drop you got would go straight to your inventory in much the same way that any bone drop you get goes to prayer XP.
Okay.
Take a lot of doing to implement it, but it's always been tempting. And frankly, if we're going to do a loot share system, which I suspect would pass a poll when we get around to it, the code for that would lead us most of the way towards letting people pick up the coins from monster drops automatically, because we can just tie into it.
Always have been curious how much money you've left on your floor, or on the floor, I should say,
We do have
in your whole time playing RuneScape.
logs,
Now,
don't
not
we, which
everyone
tells
wants
us-
it necessarily.
Yeah, exactly. We do have logs that tell us where the wealth goes.
Yeah,
I
it
think-
doesn't tell us in a huge amount of detail, it just says that a lot of wealth goes to stuff vanishing off the floor.
Okay.
So we do know that.
Be a cool statistic to tell people, be like, you've left 2 billion GP on the floor by not picking it up, you lazy RuneScape player.
It'd be quite interesting to find out stuff like how many AGSs have despawned since the start
Yes.
of Old School and those sorts of stats. They'd be very interesting.
Yeah.
Get a little off topic. Kyle asks, can we have the ability to add X amount of skills to an item instead of the entire amount? So the blowpipe, for example, you throw all your skills into it, you can't just throw a handful, you have to do the whole stack. Is it a possibility?
Yeah, if they like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Straw poll that one.
Can't see a reason not to, really.
Let's straw poll that one. Because I think this would be a somewhat mixed. You would think it'd be a yes, because who's not going to benefit from that, but
Well, it just means if you always think you do want to use the whole stack, then you don't want there to be an option for not doing so. That's the only reason you would avoid it.
okay. So that's the ability to add X amount of skills to an item instead of the entire stack. But we're going to move on to the next question.
Basically, when you use the scales on the item, rather than it just trying to move the whole stack into it, you'll get a dialogue option saying how many do you want, and if you want to put all of them, you type a very big number and press enter.
Okay.
It's not going to have an add X option on the helm, though. That would be kind of silly.
Right. All right, next question. LV2 asks, could Mod Ronin's suggestion overview streams happen more often? So this is what you did last night.
Definitely. I really enjoyed that stream and I think that the chat seemed to as well. So if those of you that didn't see it, basically what I did was go onto the suggestions forum, pull up a suggestion, read through it, and then straw poll it on the stream and see what the chat thought. And we had thousands of people voting on each straw poll, so
wonderful.
there was a lot of engagement and people absolutely loved it in the chat. So I think it's definitely something we'll be doing again for
It's a
sure.
really cool idea.
Just need to make sure we do something with that, really, I guess, because it's one thing to sit there and get people excited about it, but I think we've got to take some of the big winners and get them into a poll.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
we
Well,
need to do that.
there
Have to
was
do it.
a lot of the stuff yesterday didn't really do too well, is the thing. The one thing that got 90% was, I pulled up that thread by Baskar for
Oh, yes.
Drill Demon emotes. The exercises as emotes that had,
Oh, okay.
it's on 1,165 bumps now. I couldn't ignore that one. And that got 90%. And
I think we probably ought to poll that. If only to put him out of his misery. He would, I don't know if he'd have a purpose for living after that goes in, would he?
I still got a few more threads with at least 750 bumps on as well. So
That's interesting.
That's what I was saying. Why, who doesn't benefit from this, and yet it wouldn't pass a poll?
Well, as I say, people who want to use the whole stack and don't want an extra menu to click through might not support this.
I suppose so. So that was the poll asking, would you like the ability to use X skills on a serpentine item instead of the full stack? And that's not passing. 60% yes, so not too likely that would pass a poll. Next question. This one's from Tysony. I believe he already asked you this, but we're just going to recap it. Could we get a lobby? I hate having to type in my username and password.
Oh yes, he asked me that. I told him it was something we'd like very much, but it's going to take a lot of work from engine as well as from content, and it's going to be a while before we got time to offer it.
Yeah,
Okay. Add it to the list.
yeah, lots of benefits
It's
from
already
it.
on, I suspect.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's that. Next question. Sebal asks, could you consider polling allowing players to protect items like imbued rings over less valuable items? We did something kind of similar just recently, changing the drop items protected to the grain exchange value, correct?
We did nothing of the sort.
Okay, recap it for me.
Okay. When you're dropping an item, If it's valuable, you might get a warning saying,
That's
this
right.
item's valuable. Are you sure
Oh,
you want
boy.
to drop it? It has nothing to do with what happens to you on death at all.
That's right. Okay, so the thought, being able to protect imbued berserker rings and rings like that, as I'm getting eaten up in the chat right now.
Yeah, pretty
Well,
much.
they're amused. We are in the entertainment industry.
What are your thoughts on this?
Sorry, mind what the question was again? Protecting them over other things. Yeah.
So something like a rune crossbow, for example.
The difficulty would be if we keep the system as it currently is, where it's doing it all off alch values on death, then we have to shuffle all the alch prices of items into the order that the players most want to keep them on death, while making sure we don't end up making anything too valuable to alch, which would be embarrassing if we made something more worth alching than it is worth using for its main purpose.
Right.
What I'd prefer to do is pull that old chestnut of making death use GE values rather than alch values, so that we settle once and for all whether that's going to happen. Because I've always figured we should poll it. I don't know whether it will pass or not. I suspect it actually won't, but I really do believe we should poll it. And then see what the order looks like. Because, you know, if that passes or if it doesn't pass, it makes a big difference to what we're doing to the item prices to try and tweak them.
Okay. That answers that. Next question from OS Guys. He's going to save me with a cool question. Can we get something like a RuneScape Pokedex? Whenever you kill a creature for the first time, it logs it and tells you information about that monster.
I sort of like that idea.
Yeah, what sort of information have they in mind?
So your first time killing a monster, maybe you're not a RuneScape expert like myself. You kill a monster for the first time. That was a joke.
You had just killed a goblin. It was vulnerable to magic. Now you know that.
And it can tell you, well, we've discussed being able to tell you stats, like there's the lunar stat that tells you the stats of monsters, but it can go more in depth, you said.
Yeah, it really should. At the moment it's not very useful at all, and there's a lot more information we can get out of monsters' stats that would be worth displaying.
A little bit of text with them as well, couldn't we? Which would tell you sort of a bit of the history of them, which, you know, these guys out there could write for us.
It'd be kind of cool.
You know, and have a little competition where they can write descriptions for each monster. We'll take the best ones and pop it in with a little name on it.
I think it'd be very interesting as well to have the sort of completionist aspect to it. Kill
Yeah.
every monster in the game.
That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, take
Gotta
it
kill them all.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a dark twist.
Let's straw poll this. I don't mean to abuse the straw polls today, but I think this is a kind of cool idea and it's getting a lot of support.
Yeah.
So would you like a RuneScape Pokedex? Wouldn't be called that, for obvious reasons. Whenever you kill a creature, it would log the information for that creature,
Yeah.
tell you everything about that monster, the lore, the stats, all that, and you'd be able to track if you've killed one of every monster in RuneScape.
See, I'd like to have it as, I mean, immediately the first thing that sort of pops into my mind is some sort of collection card type book thing that you have, which you can go to. But the problem with that is we will then need a new image for every single monster that we have. And if we want to expand it to cities, items, locations, you know, all the sort of stuff that you would expect to find, we'd have to have a unique image for that, and that is a huge amount of, you know, artwork that we'd need. You know, we're talking thousands of images, which is months, if not years, of work.
Alfred's first job, eh?
After having it done in a week,
Give it to Alfred.
between eating scorpions and onions.
Even if we didn't go with glossy rendered images, we might be able to do a lot by just having an animated walking monster just stand on the screen, walking on the spot.
Yeah.
It would look respectable even if it wasn't the
Yes.
nice glossy thing that people might prefer.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I'll give you guys a chance to rune deck suggestions. Oh, rune decks, okay. I can see that. Going to the next question while we wait for the results from that poll. From C Trident, another interesting idea. He's asking, can the KBD drop materials to make a dragon tooth necklace? It would act as a ranging amulet. They've discussed wanting the ranging amulet to stem something like that, to that effect,
Equivalent
for a
to the
while
occult,
now.
I guess.
Yeah.
Do you think it have any link to Dragon Tooth Island?
It's an interesting idea. It's not as bad as the KBD head mixed with the D.
Maybe
D
in
magic.
order to string it together, you have to get some special, I don't know, sinew from something on
Oh, the
Dragon Tooth
Kraken.
Island.
All right. Can mix it with that.
Ash, when you say equivalent of occult necklace, do you mean percentage damage increase, or do you mean just
Something for ranges, because that one's for
Yeah.
mages.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah.
Haven't really thought about what it would do in terms of stats. Probably not that.
Yeah.
I'd rather have it, instead of coming from, I'd rather have it from a new dragon. Quite
White
frankly.
dragon.
White dragon.
Okay.
I think it's a good reason. It's a good thing to have a new scary white dragon.
Interesting idea nonetheless. We have the results back from, would you like a RuneScape Pokedex as described on stream? Passing by 78%, surprisingly. It would pass, potentially. This isn't a real poll, of course, but over 2,000 votes on that.
That's
Thanks
good.
for participation on that. Really like that idea.
Yeah.
Cool. So last interesting idea here. People have been discussing the possibilities of Old School being on Steam. Do you want to tie us into that and what happened today?
Yeah, this is a completely fabricated question, isn't it? There's nothing new for RuneScape going on Steam. However, on Steam, I think we've just released a new game, haven't we?
Maybe. Might have done.
Block and Load. Go have a look. On Steam, Block and Load. Made
It's
by
free
Jake.
this weekend,
Really
isn't
good.
it?
And it's free this weekend
It
as
is
well.
free this weekend.
So go have a play, and you get to shoot people who are blocks and build stuff and things. So it's really, I'm rubbish at selling this.
It is a very fun game, to be honest.
Should have got Sally in here to sell it, really, I guess. But no, go have a play. It's free for the weekend, so go have a play. It's good fun. Oh, T-shirt as well.
Yes.
We have. We were telling you about the new HD T-shirt that we put in the store. That's actually what it looks like in real life.
It's a slightly larger logo.
I'm loving
a bit
the
more
fact.
HD.
I'm loving the fact that Matt saw sellout in the chat, and then his immediate reaction was T-shirt.
Yeah, your own fault. You reminded me. But yeah, we wanted. Obviously, there's a few people who ordered the distressed version, which didn't quite like it. But that's what the new version looks just like that. So it's a bit brighter than the ones we were wearing before as well. So yeah, so that's what that looks like if you want to buy it.
Cool.
We're having some nice discussions today with the actual company that manage the merch store, and Gnome Child T-shirt.
Oh yes.
Gnome Child T-shirt.
We're discussing it. What quote might go with that?
Yeah.
I think we're going to go with uncoded, maybe.
Yes, I think so. I don't think
But,
anybody would. I think all the quote suggestions we had were probably get us into a lot of trouble.
Dank memes was easily the number one.
So Gnome Child T-shirt. I think we should probably straw poll whether they should buy a Gnome Child T-shirt. Quite frankly.
Should we all wear gnome T-shirts? Gnome Child T-shirts on the next stream.
Come on, James.
I'm pretty sure that you try to
Straw poll. Gnome
try,
Child T-shirt.
you try to time these straw poll requests when James and Simon are most distracted.
I was laughing so hard.
That's it. So Gnome Child T-shirt, I think, is definitely one, and we've got a few other ideas and stuff that we want to do as well. So I think what we need to do is to go through the release schedule for the rest of the year and sort of come up with ideas for everything, because we want to get new items into the shop as often as possible, not just T-shirts but other stuff.
Well, with Resizable mode coming out, some really stretchy pants or something.
Yeah,
That would be
I
it.
could not think of anything to go with Resizable mode. You know, it's just
Something stretchy.
it's a very difficult thing to market Resizable mode. You know,
Tights.
even sort of the banners and stuff that are going to be made for it, we haven't got a clue what it's going to look like. You know, it's got to be dynamic, I guess, and be moving.
An advert banner that keeps getting bigger across your whole screen. That'll go down.
Yes.
All right. While we wait for the results from that Gnome Child T-shirt straw poll, we'll finish up a couple more questions here.
Yeah.
Webix asks, could you please talk about the ability, or the possibility, of adding a notepad to the client?
Yes.
If it's trying to be like the note system that RuneScape had before, that was built into not just the client but also part of the game engine, etc., and party save game profile.
Yep.
That's therefore another one for the engine guys. It's obviously possible because they did it before. Just you'd have to want that over all the other things they might be doing with the same amount of dev time.
Right. There are very similar ideas that have also come through,
Yeah.
such as putting notes on friends' names.
Yeah. Now that one I like slightly more because it does something that you can't otherwise do.
Yeah.
Whereas just the notepad, frankly, Windows has one of those, and I'd rather not spend the dev time on a notepad, but notes on your friends, that's useful.
Yeah. Okay. We have the results back from the Gnome Child T-shirt. The passing by 79%.
Yeah. And the little note came in from James down the bottom there. I wonder what would sell better, a Gnome Child T-shirt or a Godash T-shirt?
Another straw poll, maybe. Right.
We're running out of time. 79%. It's supposed to be. It's wonderful to be able to, be able to see if you could sell something before you even have to make it.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Straw polls are a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
There we go.
One last question then before we end the stream, I suppose. So XXYLM.
Yeah, I think we know which T-shirt's going to win.
XXYLM asks, could we have the ability to set a preference for weapon attack styles? This is a serious question. For example, if I switch to a bow, it should stay on rapid, even if I was just using a sword, for example, on accurate.
There's a lot of different weapon categories in the game. It shouldn't be impossible, but damn, you really want to hope we get it right when we implement it, because if you think you're going to go end up in one mode and end up in another one, you're not going to like it.
Right.
Especially if you're a pure.
Yeah.
That's
didn't
what
think
it
it
is.
was
If we get to
possible.
do that, I recommend you use it very carefully before you go into combat for real with it.
I think we made an update deliberately to stop you going into defensive mode, didn't we, at one point?
We did, and that took quite a long time.
Yes.
So if we start trying to get clever and tie this on top of that, then we'd have to be even more careful.
Yeah.
It'll be done for tomorrow.
I see all the wonderful support
By
for
you.
Pures in the chat there.
Okay. So I guess that about sums up the Q&A.
I think so.
Any final words?
Fish.
Okay. If you missed anything, including the Resizable preview, you can watch the YouTube recap that'll be up shortly. Aside from that, guys, give the stream a follow if you enjoyed, and we'll catch you next Thursday.
Yes. Bye.